Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this right here for your Loomey Time watch. And what this is here is the braided singles bracelet or extension for a Loomey Time watch. And I do believe this is my second Loomey Time tutorial that I've ever made. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited for that. And here's an example that I made as an actual bracelet for a watch that I will actually wear. And I'll be showing you how to make those that I just showed you in this tutorial with just a hook and a Loomey Time watch holder. You don't actually need the clock, but to have this as a watch, you're going to need the clock. But you need to at least have the holder to make the braided singles. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you what you're going to need. So you're going to need a hook, a Loomey Time watch. You can just have the holder, so you don't actually need to have a watch. So you could just have something like this here. So the clock. You will also need clips. You will need 6 clips in total, but for the actual watch you will only need 3. So there are 3 clips you will not need. They will just be temporary. Temporary. And in this tutorial, these blue clips here are going to be the temporary clips. The clear ones are going to be the ones I'm actually using for the watch. You will also need rubber bands. As you can see here, I have 2 different groups, but I have 4 different colors. I am going to be using pink, white, and this jelly gold for the single chains. And these zebra rubber bands are going to be these rubber bands here that hold the braid together. Now these can be temporary if you would like them to be, but I'm going to actually keep mine on my little bracelets here like I did here in this example. And so even though these rubber bands could be temporary, I would recommend keeping them on there because they actually look kind of, well, I think they look kind of cool. Alright, now the number of rubber bands, I cannot really tell you how many you will need because everyone's wrist is a different size, and yeah, so just get however many rubber bands you think you will need. And also the 2 groups are the singles and these temporary rubber bands. So just get the number of rubber bands you think you will need and get the supplies you're going to need, and I'm going to go ahead and use the pause button so that you can do so, and I will see you once you have everything. Alright, so to begin, you're going to need your Loomey Time watch holder, your hook, and the rubber bands you will be using for one of the single chains in the braid. Now, I decided to take out the actual clock so there isn't too much glare or anything like that, or some random light flashing into the camera. So I took out my clock. You do not need to do that. But anyway, you're also going to need one of your temporary clips. You will also need, that's pretty much it. To get started, you're going to choose one side of the watch to start on. It'll be on here on the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to take our hook and our watch holder, and we're going to pick one of the 3 holes here on the watch. I'm going to be starting here with the one on the left whenever you have the circle facing up. What you're going to do is we're going to need to poke a hole in whichever one you have chosen, so one of the little circles. So you're going to take your hook, you're going to kind of try to stick it through, try to pull it through, and you should start to see this white stuff. There we go. So once you have your hook through, you can take it back out. And now we're going to start adding rubber bands. So our first rubber band, what we're going to do is we're going to get one. We're going to stick our hook going through this hole that we just made again. we're going to get our first rubber band, and we're going to put it on our hook, so the actual hook part of our hook. We're going to pull our hook back through this hole we have made with the rubber band on it. Just like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to have our hook going through both sides of this rubber band. So for some people this rubber band will be kind of sticking just straight up and down. You're just going to want to put your hook going through one of the loops, and then your hook bring it up and go into the other loop. So now you should have something like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a single chain on our hook. And this is really easy, so I will only be showing you how to do this twice, and then I'm going to fast forward and that craziness. So, you have the rubber band here on your hook. I'm showing you the pattern for making a single chain now. You're going to get another rubber band and put it on your hook like so, so the actual hook part of your hook. And these rubber bands that you have on your hook, you're going to slide them off of your hook and onto this new rubber band you're adding. Now the new rubber band, the end that's on your hook, you're going to kind of slide it down further on your hook. And this end you're holding with your fingers, you're going to put it on your hook. And now you've added another link to your single chain, and that's how you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a single chain on your hook one more time, and then I'm going to fast forward and I'll tell you what to do from there. So to make a single chain on your hook, you're going to get a rubber band, put it on your hook like so, so on the hook part of your hook. Then you're going to slide these rubber bands that were originally on your hook off of your hook and onto this new rubber band you are adding. Now this new rubber band that you just have on your hook now, you're going to slide this end that's already on your hook, further down your hook. And this end you're holding with your fingers, you're going to put it on your hook like so. And that's how you do it. So that's how you make a single chain on your hook. And what you're going to do is you're going to continue adding rubber bands to this single chain until your watch and the single chain you've made fits halfway around your wrist. So when you set your watch thingy here on your wrist and you have your little single chain, the single chain should reach to be around halfway around your wrist. That's all you're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and finish adding the rubber bands that I need to my single chain. You're going to as well, and yeah. So just use the pause button if you need to. Alright, so as you can see here, I now have made my one little single chain here for for the braid on the side of the watch, long enough so now the watch will fit halfway around my wrist. And once you have done that as well, we're going to add our clip and move on. So to do this, to add your clip, you're going to, with one hand, grab the rubber band underneath of this one here on your hook, this one here, and pull it down, giving this rubber band a tug, and stretching this rubber band out will help you attach your clip. So this will be a temporary clip we are attaching. And well, once you have your clip attached to this rubber band here, you can take the rubber band off of your hook, and now it is time to make another single chain. Alright, so now we're going to move on. We're going to move on to another little circle on our watch. I'm going to move to the center circle next. So on the same side, the center circle. What we're going to do is this exact same thing we did the first time. I'm going to need a temporary clip, rubber bands you'll be using for the single chain, your hook, and the same watch on the same side here. Alright, I had to adjust my camera because it was a little bit too low. It's hard to show you what I was doing. Alright, so we're going to do the exact same thing for this next single chain as we did the first time. So we're going to choose another little circle on the same side we made our first single chain. I'm going to be doing this circle here in the center. And what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to poke a hole in it. So you take your hook, you choose your circle, and you're going to try to stick your hook through this circle. And if you're doing it correctly, you should start to see this white stuff. And there you go. So you can take your hook out now. And now we're going to start adding rubber bands. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook, stick it through the same hole you just, or yes, the same circle you poked a hole in. Take your first rubber band you'll be adding in the single chain, put it on your hook like so, and slide your hook back through this hole you just created before. You're going to want to do this about you're going to take the rubber band about halfway through. I did not say this before and I do apologize, but hopefully it wasn't something I needed to tell you, but yeah. Alright, so now you have your rubber band. You're going to get both of the little loops onto your hook. I'll show you again. Here we go. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to make another single chain on our hook again. And we're going to make it the exact same length we did the first single chain. So you'll need to count how many rubber bands you used in the first single chain and use the exact same number of rubber bands in the second one we're making. I need to add about 9. Go ahead and make another single chain on your hook and do the exact same thing you did the first time. I'm going to be fast forwarding this part, so just use the pause button if you need to. Alright, so as you can see here, I have now made my single chain here. 9 rubber bands long, like I did my first one. And what we're going to do now, once you've made yours the same length as your first single chain, is you're going to grab your clip, and we're going to attach it to this end of our single chain that's here on our hook. So what we do is we grab this rubber band underneath of the one on your hook, so this one here, and you kind of pull it away from your hook like this. This will stretch this rubber band out. And what you're going to do is you're going to get your clip, your temporary clip, this one is temporary as well, and you're going to slide it onto this stretched out rubber band here. And once your clip is on, you can take these rubber bands off of your hook. And now you should have 2 of these single chains on your watch. Now we're going to do this exact same thing again. So, once again, you'll need the rubber bands, or yes, the rubber bands you wish to use for the third single chain, a temporary clip, and your hook. So like we did before, we're going to now use the last circle here that you have on your watch, so you should only have this one left, or just one left. You're going to poke a hole in this circle here, so you get your hook, you try to stick it through this last circle. You should start to see this white stuff as you are pushing your hook through. There we go. And then you can take your hook out. And now we're going to start adding rubber bands. So first we get 1 rubber band. We stick our hook back through this hole we created. There we go. We can take our rubber band. We're going to put it on the actual hook part of our hook and slide our hook back through this hole here. And pull the rubber band about halfway through. Now we're going to put our hook going through both of these loops here. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did for the second single chain for this third one. So we're going to add the same number of rubber bands we used for the first single chain. I used 9, so I will have 9 in this single chain as well. And yeah, I won't be showing you how to attach your clip this time. I will be fast forwarding through that as well. So once you've added your rubber bands that you need to for your third single chain and your clip, get ready to do the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this. Just use the pause button if you need to. Alright, so you should now have your 3 single chains on one side of your watch right now. And actually, before we do add the other side, we're going to braid these 3 single chains that we already have. So we're not going to need our hook. We're just going to need the 3 single chains we've made and one of our extra rubber bands. Alright, so to braid, if you do not know how to braid already, what you're going to do is we're going to start here from the left. We're going to grab the single chain here on the left and we're going to make it move over to the right. So once we finish with this single chain, it should be over here on the right. So to braid, we're going to take this single chain, we're going to kind of just pull it on top of this middle one. So now it's in between the one that was here in the middle and now this one is here on the right. And this one that's here on the right, we're going to pull over this single chain we are moving. So now you should have something like this. Right? Now, depending on how tight you want it, you can bring your single chain up like this or have it a little loose. That's all up to you. And I'm going to show you how to braid one more time because it's the same thing for the whole thing. So, to braid, you're going to take this this single chain that's here on the left, you're going to make it overlap this one here in the middle. So the one that's on the center, you're going to pull this single chain over it. Then, the one that's here on the right, you're going to make this one that's now in the middle go underneath of this one that's here on the right. So over, then under. And now your watch should look something like this. So you can kind of see the braiding pattern start to form. And if you would like to keep your watch like this, then go ahead and just keep it like that. But I'm going to make mine a little bit more tighter, like this example here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually fast forward this. Just continue braiding, and if you don't want to, then just go ahead and let this part play. So just use the pause button if you need to. Alright, okay, so as you can see here, my braids are coming undone, and that's what usually happens if you make them as tight as you possibly can, or just a little bit tighter. So whenever you finish making or finish braiding, you're going to want to kind of pinch or kind of hold the end where they are braided together, so kind of hold it down so it doesn't move. And that is the use of this extra rubber band here. So, once you are finished braiding, you're going to want to take your 3 single chains. They're all nicely braided now. I need to make this one go under here. Right. So once you've finished braiding your 3 single chains, you're going to want to try to hold them together as best you can. You're going to take your extra rubber band and pull it over all 3 single chains, just like that. I'll show you again. Move a little bit closer. There we go. Then you're going to try to twist this rubber band. So grab rubber band, twist it, and put this new shape you create back on top of the single chains. Kind of creating a cap band, and this will also keep your 3 braids together. Now this is a little bit difficult. This is probably the most difficult part of making the bracelet, but once you have this rubber band here, it will hold your single chains in the braid that they are in. And this is the final product. So now what we're going to do is the exact same thing we did here on this side of our Loomey Time watch on the opposite side. Now, I will be kind of showing you what to do on this side, so I won't be explaining the actual making of the single chains, but I will be kind of doing the explaining for the braiding. So I might end up fast forwarding the making of the single chains, but it's whatever I feel like doing when I'm editing, and depending on how long this tutorial ends up being. So yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and actually continue. Here on the other side I will do a lot less explaining, but also, as a small note, you will be using the actual clips this time that you will be using for your watch for the ends of these single chains you're about to make. Okay. Alright, I do now remember, you will need to make these single chains on this side a little bit longer or shorter depending on how long this here is. So when you check, it does go about halfway around my wrist, so I'll probably use just 1 rubber band less. So I'll be using 8 for each of my single chains. Alright, so if I'm going to fast forward, I'm probably going to fast forward now. Alright, so we're here again. I'm going to be showing you how to braid the single chains once again. And well, to do that, you're going to need your Loomey Time watch with the 3 unbraided single chains, your extra rubber band, and you will not need your hook anymore for the rest of this tutorial. Alright, so to braid, you're going to be bringing the single chain that's here on the left over to the right. And to do that, first you're going to take the single chain and go over the single chain in the middle. Then this single chain that's here on the right, you're going to take the same single chain and put it going underneath of the single chain on the right, creating a shape that looks something like this. You can tighten this as much as you want. Then you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to take this single chain that's here on the left, kind of pull it over the one that's here in the middle, and under the one that's here on the right. So over, then under. As you can see, the braiding shape is already starting to form, and you're going to do the exact same thing you did for the other side. So I need to braid mine, I do believe, 2 more times. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward myself braiding. Just use the pause button if you need to. Okay, as you can see here, I now have my 3 single chains, and they are all braided. And what I did was I kind of held on to them so they did not come undone. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our extra rubber band, so the other one that we have, we're going to kind of pull it over all 3 of the single chains. Okay, Then you're going to want to kind of cap it, so turn it into a cap band. Take a rubber band and twist it, and the new shape you create will go onto, or go over the 3 single chains as well. And there we go. And now you have your 2 little braided sections here. Now we need to attach them together. So to do this, we're going to do 1 single chain at a time. So we're going to figure out which single chain will go with what. They do not need to be the same colors, unless you use the same color for the whole thing or something, but whatever you attach your clips to, they do not need to be the same color. They just need to kind of align so they're kind of more straight like this here. So as you can see, they're not all the same colors, the ones I attached in the example. Alright, so you're going to take the clip, so only one of the temporary clips off of one of your single chains. So I took a temporary clip off, and now I have one of the single chains loose. I'm going to hold on to this. Then you're going to want to find the single chain on the other side that would be just across from it, so make sure your little braids are not twisted up or anything. So it looks like this clip here that's on the gold single chain will attach, so you'll take your clip and attach it to this loose loop. And I do apologize if you're not really able to see. Alright, you'll do the same thing for another temporary clip. You'll take it off of the rubber band it is on. Be careful with this rubber band. Right, so this loose loop here, it's in the middle for me. You're going to want to find the clip on the opposite side that would go with it. And it looks like this one here on the white will go with this loose loop. So attach the clip. And then you'll do the same thing for your last little loop here. You'll take the last temporary clip off. Careful with the rubber band it's on. And this loose loop will go onto this clip that does not have another rubber band on it. So there's only one rubber band on this clip, so that means this is the clip that goes onto this rubber band. There we go. And that is how you make your Loomey Time braided singles watch. So now the temporary rubber bands here, you can try to take them off if you would like to. You could also move them to the top of the braids, so towards the watch more, but it's whatever you want to do with these temporary-ish rubber bands. They don't have to be temporary. If you actually like them on there, you can keep them. And yeah, that's less work for you. Bam! So as you can see here, I now have my Loomey Time braided singles watch here. And hopefully you do as well. And well, now it's time for the outro, so I would like to thank you for watching my tutorial. Hopefully it showed you how to make this braided singles Loomey Time watch thingy here successfully. And if you have a loom, you can make a dragon scale, a 4-pin dragon scale, or even more if you want, for a Loomey Time watch, and there will be a link to the playlist, because I'll probably have more Loomey Time tutorials, so there'll be a link to the playlist that I have my Loomey Time tutorials on. And yeah, so if you want to put a little dragon scale on one of your watches, then there'll be a link to that playlist where you can find it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this tutorial, other than Thanks for watching, and bye!